What's going on, Team Diesel? Coach Mike here with Diesel athlete Steve Klimek, and today we're going through 3 different row variations. Now, in our row variations, we like to break it down into 3 different phases. We have our connection, our dynamic, and our strength phases. Now, within those 3 phases, we will take you step by step on what we want to see and what we're trying to accomplish in each individual phase. Let's get after it. All right, guys, so phase number 1 will be our connection phase. So Steve's gonna go ahead and get set up on the bench. We're gonna go left arm on the bench and left leg will be on this back side here. So the reason why we're suspended between 2 benches is because we want to create as much tension as we can. Now, in doing so, Steve will have his left leg straightened out, driving pressure through that big toe. That tension is gonna work itself up the chain into the glutes. He's gonna squeeze the glutes nice and strong, keeping that core tucked as always. So notice how his wrist is right underneath the shoulders. That's creating our good joint stacked position. Now Steve's gonna go ahead and grab the weight. Now from here, he's gonna do simply rowing his elbow back towards the wall, squeezing the scap at the top. Again, notice all the tension is creating, everything is nice and stable. This is perfect for our rotational athletes. Creating tension is good. We always want to be strong and stable because this is gonna build our foundation for moving forward. Go ahead, Steve, switch over to the next side. So when he's doing these rows, he's matching his breath with the row. So he's rowing up, exhaling, letting all of that air out of his rib cage. Boom, squeezing, glutes are good. Let's get a little bit more bend in that knee. Now he's joint stacked with the ankle, knee, and hip. There you go, Steve. Let's give us one more rep there. Good, and rest, attaboy. And going into our next phase, we have our strength portion. So for this variation, we're gonna do a banded barbell row. Now what Steve-O is gonna do, he's gonna hop right up in front of the bar. Now in grabbing the bar, we're gonna take a nice big step back so we have some good tension on that band. So now the next thing Steve-O is gonna do, he's gonna get into that good hinge position, keeping the ankles, knee, and hip all stacked up against one another. Now notice how he brought that band close to his shins, and his tempo is 3 seconds up, 3 seconds down. So we're keeping it nice and slow and controlled, pointing the elbows straight back. He's squeezing the scaps on the way up and keeping a nice good tempo. Now notice how he's staying stacked throughout the whole motion of the exercise. Give me one more rep, Steve-O. Good. We were in a good spinal position. The joints were stacked, and that's a great way to build strength in your strength phase. All right, guys, now going into our last phase. So once we perfected our connection row, we're very solid on our strength row, we like to challenge our athletes and go into a little bit more dynamic phase, right? So Steve is gonna go ahead and grab the cable. What we're gonna go into is a lunging cable row, all right? So Steve-O is gonna have whatever arm the cable's in, that same side leg is gonna go back. Now he's in a solid lunge position, his ankle's over his knee, his glutes are on. Now all he's gonna do is gonna hinge back at that left hip, let the arm come forward, and he's gonna explode through at the top, squeezing his glutes. His head is nice and tall. Come on, pack that chin. Attaboy, and he's squeezing the opposite arm, creating tension throughout. Everything is locked out at the top. Go ahead, Steve-O, give us a couple reps. Get a good hinge back and squeeze at the top. Good, let's pick up the pace a little bit. Good, dynamic, we wanna go fast here. But always keeping it controlled because we have a solid foundation from the other 2 phases that we accomplished. Now, if you want to challenge yourself, Steve-O can bring that right leg back into the air, almost into a single arm, single leg RDL. And when he comes through with that row, he's going to drive the knee up towards the sky, locking out that bottom leg. Glute is on, staying nice and tall. Give us a couple more reps there, Steve-O. Really fire it through. There you go, bring that foot out a little bit more. Now, only go after this if you have a solid foundation. If you find that you're a little wobbly and you can't really hold your balance that well, then we might need to go back to that bird dog bench or that barbell banded row. Now this is a great variation to throw at your athletes if they have a good solid base and foundation. Steve-O's over here crushing it, doing a great job. Now go get it.